Yo, it's your boy M coming at you today with another movie review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the one, the only, the supreme of all monsters, the king of all monsters. You know who I'm talking about. Godzilla Minus One. If you haven't seen it yet, oh boy, you are missing out. Just because of the fact that this movie budget was around 15 million. And straight up, with today's blockbuster movies that are coming out of Hollywood, this movie definitely put Hollywood in its place when it comes to just how good of a production this movie was when it came to just the budget alone. I mean, good example, the recent disaster, the controversial Snow White that came out of Disney was roughly produced on a budget of $240 million, even more just because they went back to freaking reshoots. And last I heard, those reshoots cost the movie up to around $600 million. So we could have gotten a lot of really good Godzilla movies with that amount of money that was produced for a failing, horrible movie that is the new Snow White. But then again, I mean, there was other factors that went into that failure of a movie when it comes to a certain star of that movie who I have a feeling is going to be blacklisted after this whole debacle. So let's get to the review of what we're actually talking about, which is Godzilla Minus One. Pretty much the movie is about World War II Japan, and it goes into a lot of trauma that resulted from World War II and how the main character, Koichi, deals with this past of guilt and trauma because he was a kamikaze pilot who fled his duties because he didn't want to kill himself for the country. And at night, when he gets back from the island and everyone's slowly retiring, Godzilla makes his first appearance and just annihilates the entire fleet. And the Koichi had an opportunity to end Godzilla that day, that night, but he didn't. So everyone dies except for him and another fellow soldier who ends up gathering everyone else to bury them on this island that they were using as a fueling station to continue their, the war and everything. So he eventually gets back to Japan, and when he gets back there, the area that he was living in is completely annihilated from, the days before when it came to the Americans dropping bombs and just leveling everything. Finds out that his family, his mom and his dad, were killed in the air raids, and that they had left a letter for him, pretty much wishing that he came back alive, and that's what happened. But he didn't come back to his parents, which is more trauma to just add to his basket. He eventually comes across a woman who has a baby that you eventually find out that this baby was not this woman's baby and that this baby was given to her from a dying mother in hopes that her child could survive. And sure enough, years go by. They end up finding, a place to find a job when it comes to both of them, the woman and Koichi. And Koichi is a mine disabler when it comes to destroying ocean mines out in the ocean. And they use a wooden boat. And when they first go out there, he gets a kind of rundown of what's going on and how to destroy everything. Until one day when they go out and they realize that things aren't just right. Things seem pretty odd just because they're near a battleship, and the battleship looked like it got its stuff handed to them. Big, huge hole on the side of the ship, no survivors, and that they feel something's really weird in the air. When one of them looks in the water, they notice fish start to pop up everywhere with their insides completely just popped out of them because of depressurization. And Koichi remembered that when he was on this island before Godzilla made his appearance that night, he also saw the same thing and told these people on this ship that he was with now that a legend that the locals of this island used to talk about, and that they used to call this thing Godzilla. And Lord behold, Godzilla makes his appearance, and he is terrifying, like complete nightmare incarnated. And that's the one thing I really loved about this movie, that they really brought that terror, that horror that Godzilla should have, and he became an unstoppable force. So these guys on the boat try to escape. Godzilla's just kind of just swimming along, keeping up with them like it's whatever, and he starts to catch up. These guys start to panic. They've had a couple mines on their boats that they recovered, and they figured, let's drop these mines and maybe we can do something. First one goes, doesn't really do much, makes Godzilla pissed, simply put. And they drop a second one, but when they go to, you know, detonate it, it doesn't detonate. So Koichi has to freaking jump on the machine gun that they had on there that they used to disable these sea mines when they're fishing them out of the ocean. And luckily enough, this mine ends up getting caught up in Godzilla's jaw, in his mouth, and Koichi was able to blow the damn thing up. And that's when and simply put, they think they got Godzilla on that take, but Lord behold, Godzilla has a fast healing property. It's just his whole side of the face just heals quickly, and fucking he's pissed now, and goes after them. But right before Godzilla was about to, make these guys have a really really bad day, the Japanese army shows up and was able to pretty much unload on Godzilla, which just made Godzilla more mad. And Godzilla pretty much, when it's the first time you see Godzilla do his, atomic breath, just annihilates the ship. Freaking everyone on the ship, just complete horror, when it comes to the little one ship that they're on, and they just haul ass. Koichi passes out, and next thing you know, they're waking up on land, or Koichi's waking up on land, and the trauma just comes back to him again. He starts remembering everything that happened on the island that night when Godzilla made his first appearance and just ripped apart his entire crew. And that's the one thing I will say, this movie does not shy away when it comes to people dying by the hands, by the feet of Godzilla. Because I know when Godzilla makes landfall for the first time in Tokyo, he just you see people freaking falling from buildings. You see people getting stepped on by Godzilla. You see people getting just wiped out, And the atomic breath scene is really, really good in this movie when it comes to just each spine on Godzilla's back kind of just popping out, like it's some kind of like nuclear weapon getting armed, and then when he unleashes it, all the spines just pop back in and boom, freaking blue ass laser beam goes shooting across the entire city, hits something off in the distance, and this giant mushroom cloud just comes out of nowhere and just annihilates everything in its path. And I mean, I can talk highly about this movie all day long, and I'm about to hit 10 minutes with this video, but I'm just saying, if you haven't seen this movie yet, you definitely need to watch it. It's one of my favorites. I know it's on Netflix. If you want to get the DVD or Blu-ray, I highly recommend it. It really makes me excited knowing that they're going to continue making these movies with the same director who was in charge of all this stuff and was able to actually use the budget wisely compared to all these bullshit Hollywood studios nowadays where they're just trying to preach really dumb shit when it comes to identity politics or any other freaking dumb shit nowadays. You guys know what I'm talking about when it comes to trying to please the modern audience. This story literally sticks to a story. This movie respects the audience. This movie wants to tell a good story, and it delivers on that. So, on that note, it's your boy M. If you haven't seen it, go watch Godzilla Minus One, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.